We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, you see me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the chop shop, cause they cutting up. It's retro, coming to you live to the chop shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the chop shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the chop shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Chi Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas, but we broadcasted all over the world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And let me tell you, special, you usually don't think much when somebody asks you, how was your weekend? You know, and I'm gonna share that with you a little bit, but let me tell you who my first five, my starting five, we affectionately call them the starting five, the first five people who pop up to our Facebook feed. We got Derek Johnson, Jessica Brooks, Rod Wells, Tyandra Holmes, and Martin Vaughn. And the sixth man of the day is Rick Brown. But like I say, you usually don't think about much when somebody asks you, how's your weekend? But this was those are some powerful words this weekend, because obviously so much has happened in the last 48 hours. I would just run a few things down to you before me and Jimmy get to going. You know, the NBA is back to work after being gone. We're glad that was a big deal. And then you find out Uncle Cliff Robertson, 18-year-old veteran, is gone, died of cancer, lymphoma at the age of 53. Then cancer has also taken the life of Chadwick Boseman. At age 43, had stage 3 colon cancer. One of the most famous people in the world, and most people didn't know he was ill. And as you try to get back to sports, you know, the Lakers eliminated Portland, and then somebody gets shot and killed in Portland this weekend. And ladies and gentlemen, that happened in the span of 2 days, man. And I just, you know, I hope we can bring a little more joy to your day. It's gonna be some stuff we're gonna cover today, but I just in case you was under a rock and didn't know those things happen, I just had to share that with you. But Jimmy, what else you got going on today, man? Yeah, you think?
Well, let me undo and get this thing popping. How's everybody's Monday going on top of the week? And we got as with most Mondays, we have a hell of a lot of stuff to go and roll through. And on the back nine, We're going to reserve it to get into the grassroots sector. And so a lot of people want to know updates and recaps from, and boy, do we have some hell of a recaps from the ASAC Classic when the event director, Craig Carton, came on the Chop Shop Thursday and broke down his introduction of a rule that we had yet to ever be seen. I love innovators, but I tell you how that experiment went when his self-declared rule of his event, no technicals. Boy, no technicals. I mean, the referee was prevented from calling technicals. And I was there with my own eyes. And I tell you what I saw. And also, when we joined on the back nine with Tim Littlefield of Texas Boys Basketball, he covers that ASAC area. And he was involved with that event as well down there. So it was great to see a lot of the guys down there, Alan Branch, and guess what happened? Yeah. Paul Miranda helped coordinate that event, and I didn't even know it. He helped coordinate the event with Craig Carton and was able to rally a lot of the people from Dallas and around the state there to cover it, which the effort was there. Once again, we'll talk about that on the back nine. Ruck on Wood. We'll recap and revisit with some of the things that took place on yesterday, which made it. And I'll tell you what made the 20th year of existence of that event historic on yesterday as well. But meanwhile, we're going, as usual, make a quick lap and give you a good dose of baseball, since we know there's a lot of ladies out there and fellows that follows baseball around in the major league spectrum. Well, of course, the Astros, guess what? The COVID-19 appeared to catch up with the Astros, well, indirectly, by the form of their opponent, the Oakland A's, over the weekend. So their Sunday game was canceled. Basically, two of the people in the traveling party tested positive with the Oakland A's. Well, how did it affect the Astros? Well, preventive maintenance, of course, they couldn't play. But it was noted that at the same time, a couple of people from the Astros farm team down in Corpus tested positive. So that means, and then they had just called up two players from the team had joined the Astros. So they had to shut it down and wait till another round of testing going. And we'll see how that they should be getting those results any minute now if they haven't done so already. Also over the weekend, the New York Yankees had got back to their winning ways. They had lost about 7-8 straight. They I guess beat the Mets in the Subway Series that was canceled, remember, because of the pandemic a couple of weeks ago, and beat them 3 straight games. One game on yesterday, they were losing by 5 runs in the last inning. When they play doubleheaders in this a new rule they have, because they know it's going to be a lot of doubleheaders, but every doubleheader is only 7 innings now. So the doubleheaders are 7 innings. So to keep guys having to play 18 plus innings in one day, 7 innings, then a 7 inning. Yankees were down by 5, caught up and won in extra innings in that one on the Mets. But other than that, as far as baseball, we like the Dodgers. Guess what? They still the Dodgers. Hey, Mookie Betts is definitely indeed an MVP candidate as we approach. Actually, we've already surpassed the midway point. Remember, they're going 60 games. So they're game like number 35, 36 right now for most part. Every team doesn't play the same amount of games because on the pandemic. Some teams, whatever games you don't play, they're going to take the percentage and keep on rolling. But we're past the halfway point. So Mookie could get MVP. It's either between Mookie, Fernando Tatis from the San Diego. He's probably the front runner easy right now. Dude smacking the ball all over the place. But that's pretty much your baseball, your dose of baseball. And are we up against the break yet?
No, we got 5 minutes.
Ooh, man, we got 5 minutes. So I was gonna wait and slow drag up into
Jimmy, we ain't got no way to slow drag. All of this stuff I got, we ain't got time. If you ain't got nothing, just shoot it to me. I got you. So we ain't got time to slow drag today.
I was talking about it before we got started on the NBA playoffs,
Jimmy, I forgot to talk about in my soliloquy in the beginning I forgot to mention about John Thompson. He was another one, and I didn't want to interrupt you. I was going to come back to it, but he passed away this weekend, Jimmy. And that's why I said it was a rough 48 hours. And, Jimmy, you got to realize, I sit here and think about those three guys. Got a chance at the All-Star game to meet Chad Boseman. Got a chance to Cliff Robinson. If you go back and look at Backcourt 2000, Penny decided to leave Orlando and go to Phoenix with Jason Kidd, and Cliff Robinson and Sean Marion was his teammate. So I lived out there for a little while, got a chance to know him. And John Thompson, Jimmy, I've told a story on this show before. He caught me where he heard that I was on the campus trying to represent Allen Iverson back in them days.
And ran your ass clean up out of there.
Yeah. And I told y'all, I got a chance to meet Allen's wife because she was parked waiting on the bus. I don't know if anybody been to Georgetown. It's a little alley back in behind the gym. And, I'm just sitting there seeing a car there, Jimmy. So I said, I'm going to wait this car out. And I went up to the car and didn't find out who she was. And I just sit there and waited. So, but John Thompson told me, catch me on that campus again, he was going to have me put in jail. And that's my interaction with him. But I love him. And I did. Let me tell you what I told him. And he just talked about, I said, dude, we want to represent Allen. He told me, well, I got somebody for Allen. I said, well, let me tell you something. That guy might be a good agent, but he might not be the best for Allen. And I said, just give him a chance to talk to us. No, he wasn't having it. So that Jimmy, I had, he was not having it. But if you go look at his history, he was already had a relationship with somebody for years. And I couldn't too much blame him. David Falk. David Falk ain't bad. I can't say that. Yeah, but Tiffany, that's one of them Robert Hatter stories that's gonna be in my book. What you got, Jimmy? Are you about to say something crazy?
I got a John Thompson.
Jimmy, you done froze up on me, man. Oh, God, you back now. You back. Come on.
Yeah, I got a John Thompson story. I've had the honor of meeting him, man, several times. I mean, he knows me when I'm coming, and kind of like, I always would, give me a little skull therapy, every now and then we sit down. It was kind of cool, kind of like that old uncle that's sitting inside at the party all the time. He was, always just chill, and people attract to him, in those settings. And because of my relationship with Nike and with George Raveling, enabled, Coach Thompson to grow to know me. But it was one year, man. I don't know what year this was. We were in Indiana for the Final Four. And this particular year, it was a tornado that was coming through the town. I can't remember what year it was, maybe 15 years ago or so. And there was a private meet at the Final Fours then. That's when a lot of meetings take place with college coaches, with assistant coaches, with different organizations and fraternities within the basketball sector that they're aligned with. This particular meeting was a dog whistle or a silent meeting. You had to be invited or brought into the meeting. It was no meeting that was on the agenda at all. It was not on the schedule at all. This is one of those midnight meetings, meaning that the meeting didn't start to like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And you had to know, like I said, you had to know where you were going to get into this room. You couldn't just stumble up on this. And so I'm being pretty much a puppy in the business, but people had, if you had saw my energy coming along the way at that time, trying to make change and trying to fight the power during those days. Well, so I get in the meeting, and I'm amazed. I'm marveled at who's at the table. It's like a big old horseshoe round table in there, right? So I get in there, and what I have right here is a sign-in sheet. They passed this sheet. I got it upside backwards right now. You guys can't see it right now. I'm gonna flip it around in a second. And in the meeting, everybody had to sign because they wanted to make sure that everybody was accounted for. They know who was in the meeting. That way, some stuff wasn't nothing supposed to leak out. And it was at that time it was a point because the BCA It was just breaking. No, it was being diminished, and it was a changing because guys like in that meeting, I just read you 3 of the names that's on here, and I turn it around. I highlighted these 3 names for you. Up top, you see John Chaney signed. He was in this meeting, right? Down here, you see John Thompson.
Nolan Richardson.
And down below him, Nolan Richardson is below him. And you guys can see those names on this signing sheet. You see a lot of other names on there as well. And I roll them up so you can see it was about 2 dozen people that were seated around the thing, all black. Understand, this is one of those type of meetings. And so the leaders were here of the Mount. That's 3 of the 4 from the Mount Rushmores. Back at that time, you had Chaney, you had John Thompson, Nolan Richardson, and George Raveling was considered the Mount Rushmore of black head coaches. And so, man, it was in there, and I was just sitting there. And also, just in case you didn't know, you see a name up here you recognize in the media now on ESPN. Mike Wilborn was in that meeting. You see, I'm just thinking about like names. A guy like Troy Weaver had just got into the NBA. He was only like a year or 2 removed from Syracuse. Troy Weaver, he's executive now in the NBA, in the front office. Mm-hmm. Kevin Blackistone, he was with the Dallas Morning News back at the time, and you guys see him on one of the ESPN shows for years. And also, what's our guy name? Was in there, the writer that wrote the book, 40 Years of Black Slave.
Oh, William Roden, Bill Roden.
Was in there. It was, understand. So I was the guy. I wasn't the youngest in the room, but I was definitely the most inexperienced in it. And from that point on, those are how relationships. And a lot of people don't understand the connection and relationships are cultivated over time.
It's crazy.
A lot of people just want to get a seed. Just because you got a seed don't mean you have a plant. You got to plant the seed in the verb tense of a verb and water the seed. These relationships, you're like, well, he's like, and it's these relationships. So it was just amazing how just giving you guys a moment way back of how you never know who's in the room. But we knew who was in the room that time. But they didn't know, a lot of people were just getting introduced to myself from a lot of those guys. And but I just want to get that to you guys. Awesome. Now I think we have time for the break.
Yeah.
And we come back. Yeah. We come back with some basketball talkings and talk some NBA and go back over these NBA playoffs. There's some teams going home out that bubble. There's only a few left. We'll share that with you on the Chop Shop. Hang right there.
Left hand, right hand, yeah. Put it in the sink. Front hand, back hand, right with some soap in between, yeah.
Wash your hands, clean them up. 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 Yeah.
Left hand, right hand, put it in. Put some soap, yeah. Right hand, match it up.
Now lather.
Clean it up.
Don't dap me up, bro. Back
my
it
hands
up.
got cleaned up.
Back it up.
Yeah, don't dab me up.
Yeah.
Limited daps. Limited. Baby, step back. I don't want that. Limited daps. 6 feet. Baby, step back. I don't want that.
We the cleanest.
I know personally that your generosity extends past what you have given on the stage and screen. Many of you already know the story that Mr. Washington, when asked by Phylicia Rashad to join her in assisting 9 theater students from Howard University who had been accepted to a summer acting program at the British Academy of Dramatic Acting in Oxford, he gracefully and privately agreed to contribute. As fate would have it, I was one of the students that he paid for. Imagine receiving a letter that your tuition for that summer was paid for and that your benefactor was none other than the dopest actor on the planet. I have no doubt that there are similar stories at boys and girls clubs and theaters and churches across the country where I know you have also inspired and motivated others. An offering from a sage and a king is more than silver and gold. It is a seed of hope, a bud of faith. There is no Black Panther without Denzel Washington. And not just because of me, but my whole cast, that generation stands on your shoulders. The daily battles won, the 1,000 territories gained, the many sacrifices you made for the culture on film sets through your career, the things you refused to compromise along the way, laid the blueprints for us to follow. And so now, let he who has watered be watered. Let he who has given be given too. It is an honor to now know you, to learn from you, and join in this work with you. May God bless you exceedingly and abundantly more.
Midday Sports Happy Hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. 28 minutes past the hour. 28 minutes past the hour. You're on that late lunch break. Guess what? You're in the right place. Come on, keep chopping it up with us on the Chop Shop. Of course, I'm Jim Hicks, and this is Robin Hatter. We are going to talk a little hoops this segment. NBA playoffs resumed this past weekend after the brief stoppage, and Milwaukee Bucks was the first in line to resume. They were the first to start it. They were the first back on the court, and they took care of business over the Orlando Magic, 118-104. Greek Freak, 28 minutes and produced 28 points, 17 rebounds. You know, quietly, I mean, Greek Freak has been getting it in. And this this Milwaukee Buck team, remember, they started off in the resuming of the bubble season, had me concerned. But the more these guys
they were already clinched. And sometimes, just talking to people, the players, sometimes it's just mentality sometimes. And it's not, one or two players might say, okay, let's grind. But it's some people just like LeBron them. Once they clinch so early, those games really didn't mean as much to them as it meant to the other people. And then it carried over until that first game, and them boys shocked them. But then they put on their big boy pants and just said, okay, all right, let's run these guys out. Hey, it was so, Jimmy, it was they had so much confidence in themselves. They said, we will forfeit a game. We will forfeit a game. We'll get him a game, and we'll come back and beat them. So, but yes, Greek Freak, they're ready, but they're going to have a stern test this next go-round, Jimmy. Miami is the only team that has a winning record against them in the East.
And that game is today.
Yes.
5:30. That first game of the Eastern semifinal takes place today. Once again, Milwaukee and Miami. And then, but speaking of, I was looking, man. My heart favors or rewards Orlando. They were playing with house money. They won one game, didn't get swept. They wasn't even supposed to be there. And you got two guys.
They didn't even have to take no trip home, Jimmy. All they had to do is get somebody to come pick. They took Uber home. They didn't even have to take no plane home. But keep going.
Two guys that graduated from Houston High School are on that roster. DJ Augustine from Hightower High School, and remember, Coach Peavy was his coach there. The Duncanville coach right now, Coach David Peavy, he was the coach at Hightower at the time that DJ Augustine came unfortunately, as a result of the hurricane and the New Orleans flooding and moved to Houston. Also, Wesley Iwundu, he played 15 minutes. And Wesley, guess what? Wesley, had been in the rotation, had started a couple games, been down, dipped out, and he's clawed his way back in. He's serviceable. As far as getting him another contract possibly, soon. The way it was on the uptick. I like also other NBA action. Of course, we was talking about the NBA games starting back on Saturday. The Houston Rockets resumed, and of course, Russell Westbrook got a chance to rest that leg for extra 48 hours. And he came back and gave them a jolt that they needed. Didn't get it done off. As far as precision-wise and efficient-wise, but his energy, as you saw while he was sitting down on the bench, rooting and tooting his players, his energy and the fear of the unknown with him, you know, only scored 17 points, shot it bad from the field, 3 for 13 from the field.
Who that?
Westbrook.
Oh, okay.
Didn't shoot it good, but his energy, and then of course, Lil Ugly. What Lil Ugly do, man? PJ Tucker, man. I missed the game. You know, of course, I was in.
Did. He messed around with that man's private areas. You first of all know who teammate he is. Mr. Always hitting people in their private areas. Mr. What's his name? Used to play here, Chris Paul. Mr. President of the who hit what's the kid's name? Ben McLemore in Game 3, and nobody never talked about it. We didn't bring it up on this show. Some people called me and text me about it and said, Robert, nobody brought that up. Chris, in Game 3, Chris Paul did. Chris Paul got a history of that. Go back to Wake Forest and Google Chris Paul. He got a Jimmy, you know, he got a habit of doing that. And Lil Ugly play on this team. Excuse me, Dennis Schroeder plays on his team, and he said he wasn't trying to do it, but I mean, it was borderline. That's all I can say. But what you said about Russell, I know you talked about his 17 points, but he had
7 points. 7 points.
7 points. But guess what? He didn't have a turnover in that game for the first time in 4 years. He has not had a turnover. He went on the people. I'm just going. I'm looking at some stats from Elias Sports. They say he went 338 consecutive games with at least one. The longest streak since turnovers were first tracked in 1977-78, including the playoffs. And Russell Westbrook, that's the first time he went to a game and no playoff. And he knew he was going to struggle. I like how he was Jimmy. Jimmy, that quad muscle is real tricky. And you just really have to watch yourself when you're playing. That quad muscle, that's the opposite muscle from your hamstring, y'all. Those are two of the worst and two of the trickiest injuries. Any athlete is crazy. So I'm good with it. I'm good with it. You know what? I'm watching, man, and I'm just waiting on y'all to talk about the virtuoso performances of James Harden right now. I know it ain't, you know, some people don't like it, but guess what? Hey, man, he got a chance tonight, the closeout game. It's a closeout game, and I just can't wait. I'm going to be looking at him under a microscope tonight. I want him to close this game out tonight and send these boys on back to OKC or wherever the hell they going. So that's my thing with the Rockets right now. James, go and do your thing, big guy. Hey, because I know somebody who knows you watching this show. Do your thing. Happy birthday again. Do your thing tonight, baby. Send them boys, send them guys who like to hit people in private parts. Send them on, let them go wherever they want to go and do that somewhere. But what else you got, Jimmy?
I mean, I was, like I said, I didn't see the Rockets game on Saturday. I was in Austin at the ASAC Classic. And, of course, if you just tune into the Chop Shop, we are going to recap that event and a lot of the other grassroots happenings around the state of Texas at the top of the hour. And so just hang tight for that. But meanwhile, I was looking at the sometimes you can read through the box scores, and sometimes the numbers would point you right to how it happened. And then sometimes you have to just really like in other words, the thing that pops out with me on that box score was the OKC Thunder. How about this, guys? They were 7 for 46 from three-point range. So they missed 39 trades. That's uncharacteristic from OKC. They don't shoot. That.
Oh, they don't normally shoot that much. Okay.
They don't shoot that many like that.
So what made them shoot all them shots?
I don't know. I'm watching the game. That's what I'm saying.
Jimmy. You didn't watch the game. It's the defense that the Rockets were playing on. They wasn't allowing the drive.
And then combine that with some of the things with the Rockets that I see on the stat line that, like, man, this is normally a loss. In other words, off their bench, Austin Rivers, 5 points. Daniel House, 7 points. McLemore, 3 points. You see what I'm saying? The guys that's been, that we need consistency from going into this playoff, and they didn't meet expectations. Yet you still got a 34-point win. Of course, remind you, PJ Tucker, 5 points in that game, in the same game. So I tell you, PJ Tucker.
Jimmy, how many points did the Thunder have?
Think about this. They had 80. Understand it. But if I tell you that the Rockets will play a game, and PJ Tucker, Russell Westbrook, Green, McLemore, Daniel House, Austin Rivers, between all of those guys combined, right, none of them would reach double digits.
But what if I tell you? But what if I come back and tell you that that 80 points on defense is the lowest by a D'Antoni coach team ever in the history of D'Antoniism? It's the lowest. Jimmy, they didn't have to.
The Rockets right now are the #1 defensive team in the playoffs right now.
So that's why numbers sometimes are skewed. You said, what if I told you that these guys didn't score no points? And I understand it, but them other guys didn't score either. So
but how for them, if what I said just takes place again, it would take the defensive effort of the same magnitude or similar in order to generate a win. So that would have to happen as well.
But one thing I learned about basketball is defense, it travels. Defense, if they can commit to playing the way they were playing yesterday, you don't have to worry about if you go 0 for 27. I mean, you worry about it, but you're being able to shorten the game. And I mean, I'm not shortening the game, shorten their possessions and stopping them from scoring. I think it was one of the great. Listen to me. I think it was one. I sit and watch the game and taped it, and I think it was one of the greatest performance. This is what they did to the little boy that y'all was bragging about who guarding James Harden. They left him wide open. Wide open, Jimmy. Guess what? He kept shooting. Let me tell y'all something to the young people out there, to the coaches. Hey, everybody who's just come on the fan. If you're open for a reason, man. Jimmy, he was 0 for 9 out there with Dirt. What is that? Lou Dort. Jimmy, you're open for a reason. Hey, James was just playing a zone on this side. I'm telling you, and let's give it credit where credit is due, Jimmy. Elston Turner is the chief, is the master of their defense. He is the architect of that defense. And let's give him. It's about time for us to let's start talking about Elston Turner, Ole Miss grad. My church member is my church member. He is the assistant coach, and he's the defensive coach. So I mean, it was. I hate you missed that game, Jimmy. That was a game that you probably wouldn't have liked, because you would have just said, "Man, James Harden, you better than I thought." Came up with all the key steals, all the key. I mean, it would have hurt you. But no, I'm sorry. Not you, Jimmy. I'm sorry. No. I know you can't do it. But somebody else on his feed, y'all probably didn't. James Harden, if you saw the game, didn't he make you say? I mean, he had my chest stuck out. But
once again, the James Harden in the playoff wins is the James Harden that a lot of the Houston Rocket fans would want in the Houston Rockets.
But life ain't gonna be like that all the time.
That's what you're gonna remember eventually.
Yeah, but that's what, Jimmy. Remember I told you about fans though. Fan is the root word of fanatic.
Guess what?
These same fans are burning your jersey.
That's the vast majority of every professional team's fan base of support. That's where your money comes from too.
Hold up, but they'll pay all that money and burn up the jersey that they burn up their own money. Then what fans would do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Don't the Lakers don't have fans?
Everybody
The
got
Lakers
fans.
don't have fans?
Everybody got fans.
The New York Knicks don't have fans?
I'm
The
just not a
Yankees
fan.
don't have fans?
I just said everybody have fans. Everybody got fans.
Okay. So that need not even be said. I mean, that's the thing is, once again, in the
But you always bring up the fans in Houston, Texas. But
that's right.
But they always loading up that Toyota Center every time.
Because they're coming to see him win the game. They want him to be able to perform.
And wearing beards and wearing fake beards.
Absolutely. They don't hate him.
And Travis Scott is on the front row. James.
Absolutely. They don't hate him. We in Houston, Texas don't hate James Harden. We just don't like him in the playoff losses.
In the words, Jimmy.
It's a big difference.
In the words of Jimmy, I don't dislike the Rockets. I'm just not pro Harden.
No, I didn't say that.
Jimmy, I got it on tape now.
Confidence. I don't have confidence.
I got it on tape now.
In the postseason. And so that's the thing.
I got it on tape.
So you gotta run the tape.
Okay. I'm gonna try to run it through break.
On the tape.
But
so you guys understand.
It's that time
understand it's just relatively simple. In the playoff losses, that's the thing and the hurdle that has to be overcome for James Harden with the Houston Rockets. And guess what? They don't have to win the championship this year because the expectations, it's not an iffy. They didn't enter this bubble resuming season saying, oh man, the Rockets, that it was the Lakers and the Clippers. It's all about them in the West. The narrative has been set. All the Rockets can do right now is spoil a whole Christmas for a whole lot of people that love the colors of purple and gold in the NBA. And that's the thing.
All the Rockets can do is do what?
Right now, they can spoil Christmas, so to speak, for a lot of the fans of the Los Angeles Lakers because that's where they would meet in the second round. And so now, if the Rockets get beat by the Lakers, that's not a big thing. Now the thing is, James Harden don't have to play marvelous against the Lakers. He just he can't give the people a moment to where they can use as another exhibit A in the postseason of him kind of like just laying it down. That's all. Let's go out with the good fight in this thing. Don't get swept. Don't get swept.
I'm glad that's most fans. Because he can get swept tomorrow, and I'm all right. He all right with me. I like the player. I just like the player. Just a player that I like. I can't help it. Hold on. But we got to take a break, man. Let's go back.
We go to the break, and we come back, guys, and talk some more NBA talking. Also, we may open up the phone lines. Don't get at the top of the hour. We're going to be joined by Tim Littlefield of Texas boys basketball, and he's going to recap. We're going to start out by recapping that event up in Austin this past weekend, the ASAC Classic, and that's got that and a lot more. Guys, hang right there on the Chop Shop.
Left hand, right hand, yeah. Put it in the sink. Front hand, back hand, with some soap in between, yeah.
Wash your hands, clean them up. 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 Yeah.
Left hand, right hand, put it in, put some soap, yeah. Right hand, match it up. Now lather, clean it up.
Don't dap me up, bro. Back
My
it
hands
up.
got cleaned up.
Back it up.
Yeah, don't dab me up.
Yeah.
Limited daps. Limited. Baby, step back. I don't want that. Limited daps. 6 feet. Baby, step back. I don't want
We
that.
the cleanest.
As we're speaking about all that's going on, and this is about racism in America, that white people don't know. They don't know enough. and they need to be coached up, and they need to be educated about what the heck is going on in this world. The black people can't scream anymore. They can't march anymore. They can't bare their souls anymore to what they've lived with for hundreds of years, because white guys came over from Europe and started a new country with a great idea and great ideals and wrote down great writings and laws and all of that about democracy and freedom and equality for all, and then it ain't happened. That's not what happened, because we went down this other road here. We followed economics and rich white guys making money, and they put together a system of slavery, and we've never left it, really. It's never gone away. And the really amazing thing that I've learned is black people know the truth. They know exactly what's going on. It's white people that don't know.
For those moments.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live. Jimmy, I did find that clip. I was trying to put it in while the show was going on, but I couldn't get it out of there. And but it was just, I think it said, okay, I think this might be it here, Jim. Might be it here. One of these right here.
Absolutely not.
Yes, you did. Hold up. I got some more for you. Hold on.
I'm not anti-Houston Rockets. Where did you get that from? I'm just not pro James Harden. That's the difference.
He on the team, though.
Okay, guess what?
He on the team. He on the team, though.
Now you see it. Once again, I did not say I don't like him. I'm just not pro him.
That's what I said.
No, you say I don't like him. That's the difference.
You said you're not pro James
No,
Harden.
I said no. Not just a while ago. You used the word I don't like him, and I said no, and I didn't say. I never said I don't like him.
Jimmy, but guess what? Get what not pro mean?
No, not pro mean. Understand something? It's like in a Democratic convention in the primaries. There were some candidates that I didn't dislike, but I was pro one candidate over the other. Now, I didn't dislike Bernie Sanders. I didn't dislike Kamala Harris. You see what I'm saying? So it's understand. I didn't dislike Joe Biden. I just favored somebody during that thing. That means I may be pro something else. That don't mean I'm not. So that's what that meant. So in the text of that, I'm glad, and I am glad that you brought it up. So
Jimmy,
that way the jury can see that.
Jimmy, you said you're not pro. So pro means hold on. Can I help you? Pro means for. You said
and anti means against. That means I'm not for you. That don't mean I'm an anti you. How that don't mean that?
You say you're not pro. If you're not pro, that means you're against.
No, it don't. You could be neutral on a lot of issues. Howard, what have you been? That don't mean that. Anti means you against. If I'm not pro, mean I can't co-sign that loan. That don't mean I don't want you to get that car. I just ain't co-signing that loan.
When you say you're not pro something, that means you're against it. You say I'm not. Yeah. Okay.
That's why in all votes.
We ain't talking about votes right now. Hold on. No. Jimmy, now
they got three options.
Jim.
Yay, nay, or neutral. They got three options. No, I mean, and that's just a content of different people from their understanding. But in the text, and even since that video, you heard me say it over and over, because we've talked about that topic at least once every 2 days. And I still remained away from that and said, I'm saying I don't, and I've even defined it. I don't have confidence in him in the postseason. And I defined it there. Then I went and defined it even further and say, well, it's the losses in the postseason that magnifies and has overshadowed his performances, his wins in the postseason. They've been greatly overshadowed. If you combine both of them, his numbers would be gigantic as far as a lot of his averages in the postseason. That's the thing on that. And so that's I'm looking at the
Seville, that is not. And this Seville, Jimmy, I love when your cronies get on here and try to help you. I love y'all. Nissaville, that's not the same damn thing. Okay, that's not. Jimmy, you're freezing up over there. That's not the same thing. I'm just helping you. Just go and look up the word pro. Okay? Then if you're if you're not pro, that means you're against. All of that talking about, I'm not anti-white, and I ain't talking about that. When you use certain words, I mean, but maybe you just, hey, and I understand and you always qualify it. I don't like it in the playoffs. You don't like him in the playoffs. He don't care. He don't care if you don't like him in the playoffs.
That's not the issue, but he don't care. That's the result. That's the right of a fan. And like I said, and once again, thanks Darshell, Shadil, she's understanding. Thanks Naisha. Understand, Jimmy, it's the content. And
Jimmy,
the content.
A broke clock is right. A broke clock is right twice a day. So
guess what? If the broke clock is stressed on being right, then he's going to be right twice a day.
All I'm saying is, when you said it ain't that I don't, let me play it again so y'all can hear it again.
Absolutely not.
Yes, you did. Hold up, I got some more for you. Hold on.
I'm not anti-Houston Rockets. Where did you get that from? I'm just not pro James Harden. That's the difference.
I'm not pro James Harden.
Okay, so you just said that don't mean the same as a person if you change that over and saying about pro-black and pro-white. So two issues, two different sides, left and right. If a person says they're pro-black, but I'm not pro-black, then that means they're anti-black?
Yes.
No, that don't mean that.
Yes.
No, it don't.
Yes.
So now you understand the context of it. That don't mean that. No, it not.
Excuse me.
Stop. Don't go down there.
Excuse me.
Don't do that.
Excuse me.
You see the yellow sign.
Excuse me,
do not
Jamie.
enter.
You could have. Hold on. You could have meant that.
You know, no. I just said a while ago the context of what it said, and I've defined it after that several times, even without warning that the video was coming. Even without warning, I've still defined it. Even without,
Jimmy, warning. I know how you feel about the dude. That's why. If you want to weasel and weasel out of it, it's all right. It's all right. But that's all right. It's all right.
Once again, if a person is a fan of a team, and that team does not meet expectations, it is customary of the fan to be mad at either the team or the personnel or the employees, or one or all of the above, in their misery. That's what happens. That happens everywhere. And so in this situation with Harden, once again, you let him lay a goose egg against the Lakers and watch they come on back out. Even though we don't even expect the Rockets to beat the Laker team, they can win 2 games. But they can win 3 games. If Portland can win 1, the Rockets can win 3. But the thing is, could he lay a man, for the sake of the city? I hope not. So that's the thing in regard to that. If you're not pro-black, that don't mean you anti-black. Sometimes some people just not, you know what? I got nah. You know, that's how that go, guys. You guys know it.
No, not deep thinkers. Deep thinkers don't know like that. I don't know. You ain't convinced me yet.
We just fans. We not deep thinkers. We just fans. That's all. Yeah. We just fans. We ain't deep thinkers.
I'm just letting you know you haven't convinced me yet. But guess what? You shouldn't try to convince me. So, because I am not convinced on that matter. What's the next topic? What's the next? Oh, hold up. We got a guest coming in.
Absolutely do. And in a couple of minutes, he'll be queuing up. He's in the dressing room right now. And we're gonna, as promised, shift over and talk some amateur sports. Meanwhile, you guys share the show right now to your timelines, to your friends, if you would do so right now at this time. Share the show. Hit the share button. You can share it on your timelines. You can share it to your groups. Share the Chop Shop, especially on this Monday. You know how it goes down on this Monday. And And Stephen Wood say, does that mean that you're anti-stand on this topic? I like that. He's responded. And Kimberly Jackson said, of course,
can't win.
I'm pro moving on. And I am as well. I'm definitely pro moving on. And so now, of course, we have on this past weekend down in Austin, we had Craig Carlton, who was the director of the inaugural ASAC Classic. That's the youth basketball tournament. Invited. It started, I think it was supposed to be between 8 teams. They ended up getting about 10 teams, if I'm not mistaken, that came, 9 or 10 that played at the St. Michael's, 9, at the St. Michael's High School, which is located in the shadows of Barton Creek. That's a suburb over in the Austin Westlake area and in the hills, and which that was my first time over in that area. And everything was nice as far as getting there. Stayed at the Omni, the golf course right outside the window, y'all
was at Barton Creek.
Yeah, that's where I stayed. Yeah,
yes,
that's where a lot of the staff and the team stayed around the corner at another property. But that's where the hit.
I got a question.
I guess you call it.
I got a question. Is it been renovated? Because they was renovating, all the renovations done. Last time I was there, they were renovating.
I don't know. That's a golf course, so I don't know.
No, not the golf course. No. The buildings. The actual hotel was being renovated.
Oh yeah. I would imagine so. You could tell by renovations a lot of the modern stuff is in, and a lot of hotels when they renovated, they took tubs out and put showers in. That's how you can tell from a lot of properties. That don't mean all of them. That's one of my rules of thumbs, which if a hotel still has a tub in it, it ain't been renovated. That don't mean it ain't been renovated. But in this situation, we were down there and the winner of the tournament, it was built.
I got a question before you go there, Jimmy. What was the purpose of the tournament? To invite 10 teams to this.
The purpose, I think, was the purpose, from what I gathered and what collected of the event, was to bring a signature event to the Austin, San Antonio, Killeen area, where it can attract teams from around the region, not just necessarily limited to Texas, but especially Texas and beyond. So in doing so, you started off where the teams would come, kept it, you have one court, and you know how people respond, and get them down there, let them play, you socialize, the hospitality was on point, and then you get the winner, and then they'll go back and validate the event and say, okay, guys, it was all right, or not. And that's how it goes. Normally, that's how you hope to build it. Meanwhile, you go, and from the inside, you go and you involve, or you roll out the welcome mat to a lot of the powers that be, as far as in the evaluation of business, because a lot of the people nowadays, you got to face it, they want ink. A lot of people want to go and increase their stock or want to be seen, so to speak. So you had Texas Hoops, their staff, they had 3 people there in attendance. You had Texas Boys Basketball had 3 people there in attendance. And then you had, of course, RCS Sports. You had a few others as well, Hatter, that were in attendance. I got a question, because Darryl Barnes said the purpose was to make money.
Was it an event? 10 teams. That's what I'm saying. 10 teams. And I know it's going to be limited. The people that can get in because of COVID-19. Darryl Barnes, I'm Darryl Barnes on the Facebook feed. He mentioned that, Jimmy. And Darryl, the reason I'm interrupting Jimmy, because I would have let that go by, and I wanted to address that now, because sometimes people just always think. Let me tell you something. 10 teams. How is it, man? Where the money came from? So, Jimmy, help when people always try to count other people's pockets. Could you help Mr. Barnes right quick? Could you just help?
And I answer it, and I promptly bring in our guests.
Let's bring it, Tim. Let's bring.
That way he can chime in as well.
Okay.
But understand something. The teams did not have to pay. They did not have to pay.
Okay.
From what I understand.
Somebody had to pay for the referees, Jimmy.
The teams. Listen. The teams did not have to pay. If I'm not mistaken, they ain't had to pay for their hotel. You follow me? So that means this was an event, and once again, how the NCAA rules go. So that way, people be wondering, well, what you do for one, you must do for all. That's the catch. So that means a lot of events that goes on around the country, it's NCAA violations committed damn near every tournament. So once again, the NCAA rule, that's called impermissible benefits. But that's a whole nother topic, just in case you were wondering. But in this case, you make everything free. That means there's no benefit that's granted towards one that's not granted to the other. And even though they're the worst team or the best team. So no, this event was not designed to make money this year. Eventually, and I spoke with Craig Carter. He just don't want this event to bleed after a couple of years of existence. It's kind of like we had Rossi Karen on last 2 weeks ago, and his event, his first year, didn't have many people in the Toyota Center when they Baylor the triple header, but it wasn't designed to make money the first year. And guess what? His people still has proven they still right behind Rossi with a boatload of bread putting up under him and his ideas. But with that being said, we go right to our guest. We have Tim Littlefield with Texas Boys Basketball with us, who worked with the event with the ASAC Classic. Tim, welcome to the Chop Shop, man. What's going on?
What up, Tim? Hold up, Tim. Let me get you hold up. Hit it again, Tim. No, you still okay. Now,
there you go. Now, well, you cut it off again.
No, Jim. Oh, yeah, hit it again. Yeah. All right.
There you go.
Let me hear you.
Come on.
Tim, come on. You can talk.
How you doing, man? Glad to be on.
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, good to be on here, man, with you guys, man. I got to ask Jim a quick question real quick. Jim, where you get your marketing degree, man? Marketing 101. We're going in the restrooms yesterday, and we seeing icebreaker stuff all over the restroom and start getting prepared for 2021 already.
You talking about them flyers? Some of them flyers. I know.
I know.
Yeah. Hey, that's some street stuff right there, man.
That's called Hustle 101. He's trying to make it happen already, man. You know, but that's good stuff. That's good stuff. It was definitely good to see you, sit down with you, talk a little bit. So, you know, definitely an interesting weekend, to say the least.
So what was it? Tell me about this event. I didn't go. I didn't understand the concept. I listened to y'all got to understand, this y'all's expertise. So take the people like me who, you know, what made this event so special and made it groundbreaking and got people commenting on how much money somebody making, what they making or whatever they're doing. Explain to me in your words, because you're from that area, and explain to me what's going on.
So the idea, much like what Jim was talking about, is try to bring, you know, a prestigious event to this particular area. One, two, of course, you know, a lot of San Antonio, Austin, Killeen teams are consistently, you know, on the road having to go to Houston or Dallas to play in top events, to play against top competition, just simply for the fact of, you know, wanting that exposure. And this was an opportunity to get those guys on the road and come to an area where they were going to be treated right. You know, Coach Carlton, Coach Shedd from ASAC, those guys reached out and said, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And so, you know, it's been some brainstorming going on behind the scenes for a little while now. But the idea is to bring as many quality teams into the area as possible. And so based on relationships all across the state, you know, when you had the Houston Defenders in here out of Houston, FOE out of Dallas, Taz Elite out of Dallas, you had San Antonio Texas Hard Work, and the Next Level Raiders out of the San Antonio area. And then you also had the guys from Next Level Raiders. that were there. Also Austin Pro Skills.
Okay.
So Austin Pro Skills was in there, as well as THP, Texas Hardwood Prospects, organization that's been around for some time now. So you had a lot of quality individuals in there, along with ASAC and their own team that was actually in it. You know, they got a lot of high-profile kids as well as those other organizations. So it was just a matter of getting all of that top talent. Some of it nationwide recognition has already been on some of those kids, but then the other part of it was statewide recognition, and some of those kids just now getting on everybody's radar. So it was that idea coming together. So you say, well, how do you make it happen? The only way you can make it happen is sometimes you got to offer a little bit that nobody else is doing. You got to be different. Like Jim always talks about being innovative. So in this particular case, you know, the ASAC group with Carlton said, okay, you know, let's be innovative. Let's bring those guys in. I got relationships. I'm going to take care of the rooms. Don't worry about no entry fee. We're going to take care of everything. Get everybody under one roof, and let's play it all the way out. You know, at the time, you know, it was determined they would play, you know, $1,500 for the winner, and I think it was $1,000 or something like that for second place. And then I think it was a third place award winner, you know, had they played it out. So that was the concept. And then, of course, you know, he reached out to people like, you know, Jim, myself, working with Texas boys basketball, and he reaches out to
Alan Branch,
you know,
was there. Branch there?
Right. So all three of our staff members were there. They reached out to Gasso with Blue and Sam and all of those guys. They were in the building with their staff.
Okay.
Several other organizations were represented in there, so I was well respected from a standpoint. Of course, with Paul Miranda, you know, being behind the scenes working on some things too, you know, had to give him respect as far as putting together the media package for everybody to come in and be able to also, from our perspective, evaluate talent good on good. I mean, there's nothing like good on good eval, so you can see, okay, this kid here measuring up, how is he going to measure up against this kid, and so on and so on, so we can realistically, you know, put a label on a kid or be able to advise somebody properly.
So it was great for guys like you and the guys in your business and the guys like Extra Eyes Media and the guys like Jimmy and the guys like Alan Branch, because y'all get to see all of these guys go against each other. I got a question. I saw Tim in there, the big Damon Collins. Did he play in this game?
He did not. That was a typo on my part. I had actually put it out there. It was actually a kid, Damian Nicholas, that plays for Duncanville High School that actually was performing pretty well. So Damon Collins was not there this weekend.
No. Well, I didn't know about your mistake. I just saw him playing in some tournament. They put out a thing saying he's the best shot blocker in the state of Texas, and I thought it was that tournament they were playing in.
No, he did not play in this particular event. So, you know, to kind of go down the list, you know, I know we were talking about players who kind of played well. So just to try to name drop just a little bit.
Yeah, let me.
We'll kind of go back based on organization. So a kid, 6'5", 2022 kid, Marcel Bryant from Austin Pro Skills had a really good weekend, showed some things, you know, for us that he hadn't shown before. So that was really good to see. Okay. Trendon Stewart had a real good weekend along with a kid named Luke Kaiser. That's been drawing some attention. Kid out of Dallas playing with FOE, Juan Reyna, shot it really, really good. Both days played pretty good.
How tall is
he? 6'2", 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah. Lefty can really shoot it. You know, his kid there, you know, he's definitely going to stretch the defense. So, you know, if you're not paying attention to where he's at on the floor, you know,
you're in trouble.
He pretty much getting it out the net with him. Yeah.
Okay.
Jamel Kofer. Another athletic kid that FOE has, you know, real athletic kid, you know, about 6'2", 6'3"-ish, real good body on him, you know, very, very athletic.
He had the hair, he the lefty with the hey, I got a question. And how do you and Tim right now? Hey, is that weave them boys be wearing in their head? Cause their hair can't grow that long, you know. I don't know.
I never asked them. That's a good question.
I'm just curious. They call it dreads or whatever. I mean,
is it? Yeah, that's a good question. I never asked because I don't care, you know. But that's a great question.
Reason I asked because I'm gonna start calling it weave. We call it weave in the girls' head. So why the hell is just called dreads in the boys' head? The girls ain't calling it weave. If that's weave, then y'all let me know on the boom boom. Let me go to the boom boom. They gonna let me know.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, hold up, Tim. You done called about 10 names out now. Tim, I live in Houston, Texas. And if you ain't been to start no Houston, Texas name, we're going to have a problem. But keep on talking. I'm just letting you know I live in Houston, but keep talking.
I got a few. I'm gonna take care of the defenders here a little bit. I got them taken care of. All right. Another kid out of THP, Patia Dogal, about 6'7", 6'8", long African descent type kid, runs the floor really well. I mean, he had, probably one of the more athletic dunks in the whole tournament, running the floor. So he does some really good stuff. From Texas Hard Work, they had several standouts. Austin Nunez played really well in stretches. He was pretty good, knocked down some shots. He showed some maturity in certain areas.
Oh, that's my man. Hold on. What'd he do? Say that again. What did Austin do?
He showed some maturity. Yeah, he showed some maturity. He's growing up, doing some different things. Shot was falling, at times, and the shot wasn't falling, but that's still, that kid there's going to compete hard.
Yes,
that's one thing about him. He's going to compete hard.
Okay.
Non-stop. I'll give him credit for that. Mm-hmm. Sean Jones, a kid out of your backyard. You talking about Houston kids?
Sean Jones. Keep coming. Sean Jones, yes.
Sean Jones had a pretty good weekend. Sean Jones showed me something else. I had seen him a couple of weeks ago down in Dallas, another event, but he played well this past weekend. So he was one that
he played with Texas Hard Work alongside Ramon Walker. Ramon Walker actually shot it pretty doggone good from behind.
I saw that on Twitter.
Ramon Walker was knocking it down. You're absolutely right, Jim. Yesterday, he had a stretch of maybe about 4 out of 5 in a row. Thing I love about Ramon Walker, he's one of a few kids that play both ends of the game. And I had a conversation with him yesterday.
Yes, sir.
I have a lot of respect for him because he's a two-way player for sure. Yes, people don't understand a lot of times in this college game, they want to see guys play both sides of the basketball. And so for him, he's going to bowl well over at Houston for the simple fact that kid there doesn't mind taking charges. He would put his neck in there and go and do what he has to do. And yesterday, because the Texas Hard Work was playing with limited numbers, he's guarding guys inside. So, that kid there also showed some toughness doing that. So hats off to him. Joseph Van Zandt, another, really solid defender, probably in my opinion, one of the top 2 or 3 on-ball defenders in the state. He does a really good job. Staying on the Houston topic, so Noah Khan wasn't bad. He had some stretches, where he had a couple of plays that actually got his team in position to win some games, and they blew some. They blew a couple of games late.
Tim, you said it wasn't bad. Tim, I'm finna interrupt you because we're doing a show. You said it wasn't bad. I've been around somebody on this show too long that's wear a hat, and I'm going to just leave it right there. Those are secret words that y'all be saying, but I'm going to let you continue. But Tim, okay, keep on going. Keep on going.
Noah Khan is an explosive kid that can get down here. I mean, I like what he's doing for his team, and so I'm not saying, he's not no bad player. He did some really good things. I mean, yesterday.
Right. I'm messing with you.
Yeah. Yesterday he had his team in position to win the game, and they wound up losing it late.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Patrick Punch.
Go. Patrick Punch.
Patrick Punch had a good day yesterday. Wasn't too bad. Long athletic kid. Jimmy and I talked about it a little bit. And Brandon Love showed some mean streak yesterday. I know me and Jimmy were talking about that a little bit on Saturday as far as Brandon Love being a little bit more consistent as far as, his approach to what was going on. But he had some stretches yesterday where he played well in the lane, dominated glass.
Jimmy, help me out. Who is Brandon Love?
As a kid, about 6'8", he go to Bush High School. He's over at Bush High School. He's a slender kid. He's kind of just hatched out of the, and putting it all. He's still putting it all together.
Okay.
So,
right. Okay.
And however, he still generated a couple of maybe 1 or 2 Division I offers in I think the Southland arena.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. For Tim to mention him, I know Tim, I'm messing with you, but I know the guys who you're mentioning are guys who made an impression on you. So keep on going. Don't mind me. This is just the way I am, but keep going.
Yeah. Now, for me, though, I've seen those kids a couple of times, so I did see some improvement in a lot of them, which is a good thing because you never know, who you're going to see or when you're going to see them again. So Gavino Ramos and Josh Alacosa from the Next Level Raiders. I know Jimmy is falling in love with Gavino Ramos. That's a kid there that everybody, really.
Oh, yeah, he love his name Ramos?
Radar. Yes.
Oh, Jimmy love it. Oh, yeah.
But
Jimmy
get what? He got some size to him for a guard. That's last name Ramos.
That's your nephew. But keep going.
Yeah. No, real solid player. Had a really good weekend. That kid there is under the radar, so to speak. You know, he's very deceptive in what he does. You know, a lot of people don't, you know, perceive him to do certain things, but he's very crafty. I mean, it's a kid that plays the game from the neck up, so I give him a lot of respect for what he does.
That. Great compliment.
Kid on that same roster, Josh Alacosa yesterday, about 6'6", 6'7", shot it really good for them and help, you know, play well in their couple of games that they played. ASAC got some kids. Josh Alacosa, 6'7", he's a 21 kid. You know, goes to San Antonio O'Connor High School.
Okay.
O'Connor won't be bad this year.
O'Connor gonna be tough. They got Big Adam. They got a couple other little guards they got. So, you know, if I'm predicting the district champion, it might be them. If not, maybe San Antonio Harlan. So it'll be interesting.
Okay.
It'll definitely be interesting. They definitely have some pieces.
What classification? What A are they in? What classification? That's
6A. 6A, yeah.
That's 6A? Okay. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jalen Bedford for ASAC had a really good tournament. Kid about 6'2", out of Hutto High School. Played really, really good yesterday. Had some really good stretches on Saturday as well. Caden Gums, a little guard that everybody's falling in love with now. He's a 23 kid, really solid freshman / getting ready to be a sophomore. But he's tough. I mean, he's a kid. He's another two-way type kid. You know, I mean, he's a very, very solid point guard. You know, gets downhill.
Tim, stop. I'm old school, right? When I came along, you had to be a good offense and a defensive player. Why you have to call it a two-way? So you saying all these other people ain't playing no defense. That's what you're telling me. Everybody else named who you didn't say was a two-way player. They ain't playing no defense?
No, I got some other two-way guys, but my thing is it's not emphasized enough. So I definitely got to show respect for those kids who do it.
Okay. All right. Carry on. My bad. Keep going.
That's what that's about. You know,
keep going.
Not often, you know, everybody in the points business. This kid here is doing things that's going to translate to the next level. He definitely, you know, is a kid that sees the floor, hits the mid-range shot, you know, like I said, can get down here really quick, but is very unselfish. So I definitely like him and think his radar is actually going up a little bit on him. Along with another big kid that they have on that team, Mashai Hill's got a chance to be pretty good, about 6'8", 6'9", growing into his body, much like the Love kid, you know, kind of coming out of his shell. But, I mean, he's got some special tools to him, so it's going to be tough. Colton Benson shot the lights out yesterday. Colton Benson's a kid at Austin Bowie. He's probably arguably one of the top 5-6 shooters in the state of Texas. I mean, he lets it go just like that. He don't need much.
Wait a minute, let me write this name down. Because let me tell you something. When I go see him play and he go 0 for 9, I can't. Give me that name again.
Colton Benson.
Colton?
Benson, yes.
Colton, I'm sorry, baby. Tim to put a bullseye on your back. Cause now if you ball, you're gonna get the call. But if you don't, boy, but keep on going. Keep on.
He shoots that thing. He was on one yesterday as a kid, like to say. He was really on one to the point where, you know, he come across half court and let a few go. So once he gets in the rhythm, I mean, he's kind of tough to deal with. Kendall Dow had a pretty good game, for ASAC. So ASAC had a pretty good performance yesterday.
That's a young guard, right?
No, that's Kendall. You're thinking of Gums. Gums is the young guard. You talking
Gums.
Yeah. What'd you think of Gums, Jim? What did you think of Gums, Jim?
I like. No, he's a 2023 kid. He's about 6 foot 6'1", and based on the fact that you got to apply the bell curve, he's playing. Most of the kids he was against were older, right? 2021s or 2022.
Correct.
So 1 to 2 levels up, and you're playing against in some instances sneaker players. I really like this young kid, Caden Gums. I like his poise. I like the fact that he wasn't rattled playing against these older guys. And I also like the fact that he came out and wasn't trying to, let me show y'all something. I show y'all what he simply stayed within his means.
Right.
What I saw. So that means little kids